Hey everybody, I saw Barbie again, and I loved it just as much as the first time, if not more so. It was a great time. All the jokes landed once again, and some of the sequences are just worth the price of admission alone. I'm talking about that big dance number in the third act. I love it. So at the very beginning, it's a 2001 Space Odyssey homage, and I think it's absolute genius. I'm also super happy that they used that as the teaser trailer, because as a teaser trailer, some of these trailers, when you see footage that's not in the film itself, you're like, kind of disappointed. But when that is part of the film, the very beginning of the film, that's genius. That's marketing genius. And that set the stage for the rest of the movie in a very funny way. I also love the satire at the beginning of so much feminine energy, so much girl boss energy that you could feel that it was a satire. Like when the president, Issa Rae's character, President Barbie, was like, let's all turn to each Barbie and say how much we love each other. I'm like, oh my gosh. That's how you know it's too much, right? But that was the satire. That was a joke. I thought it was really, really fun. Again, to kind of go in that headspace of like, maybe this is what you think the world is like when you're a kid, you know, and then the world is very different. The opening sequence with Lizzo and the song Pink sets up the world so well in a creative, even-paced tone, so it's not way too much information at the beginning. You already have an idea of why Barbie was created because of the 2001 Space Odyssey motif at the very beginning of the film, but this sets up the world, and it's fast and fun, and that song comes into play once again when Lizzo spells out Pink, when the first time K stands for cool, and the second time K stands for death. The beach off! All right, so we have that ambulance sequence after Beach Ken, Ryan Gosling's character, is injured. And when that ambulance showed up that could fold out, that was the Transformer moment. All right, I'm sure a lot of women in the theater were like, oh, I remember that toy, or I remember the commercial for that toy, or the box. Just like we guys were like the first time seeing Optimus Prime roll out. We were like, whoa, bro, this is insane. So sick. So I could really understand people that were really into the merchandise of Barbie and the different accessories, how cool it was to see that in real life. And then Ken is healed in a matter of seconds. The dance moves are so sick, man. The choreography to this in this movie is really well done. It's fluid and fun and uses creativity and movements that make you want to dance, that make you want to learn. It makes me want to learn it. And to have people show off like Simu Liu's Ken doing the backflip and stuff like that was cool to see the rivalry. But that's what guys would do on the dance floor, especially when Ken is off on the side and he's just like, oh, hold my cup. And he goes out and he does this little thing to come into the dance and everybody's moving together. It just, it's so great that you're able to create such a great time for the audience in the first 5 minutes of the film. And that leading into Ken going for the kiss at the end, which is a really cool song playing. I gave the world, the lyrics are, gave the world on a silver platter, but it didn't matter. You know, Ken is giving his vulnerability, his emotions, going for the kiss, and Barbie's like, you can go now. And every night's girls' night. And Ken, when he's still talking to himself, pretending he's still in the conversation, he's like, wish I could stay, but I gotta go. And he starts walking away. And he does the dance move again, and the aw shucks at the very end of the dance move. Perfect choreography to establish the emotional state of our character within the confines of the sequence we just enjoyed. Again, folks, this is really, really good filmmaking. This is award-winning filmmaking. Margot Robbie is so amazing, bro. She goes from this pristine, stereotypical Barbie to the real world, and you can feel it. You can feel it on her face, not just because of the makeup, but the emotions that go through. And when Sasha made her cry, when she shows up as Barbie and she does the I'm Barbie, which felt so authentic and real, like that's how a real Barbie would act. And the mean girl era of school with Sasha and her friends. And I love how one of the friends like, I love Barbie. And they look at her and she's like, oh. Like, no, you have to confine to our emo. It wasn't goth, even though they're all wearing black, but it definitely was emo. And then she calls Barbie a fascist, which again is funny and satirical with tweens, where they start to learn these big concepts and then throw these big words around, not really understanding the full context of what they're saying or the full weight of what they're saying. So then Margot Robbie starts to cry and runs off crying, and then you see her sitting down. She's like, I'm a fascist? I don't control the railway or commerce? Like, she's trying to really break it down why Sasha would call her a fascist. Another excellent joke. So good. And also when Barbie was just over and done with it all, having lost her dream home and that big fight she had with Ken, take your stuff, and they're both like crying and emotional, but she takes out her earrings and flips her shoes off and then just goes into doll mode and keels over. And then she said she wanted one of the leadership Barbies to figure it out. Again, that was really in character of stereotypical Barbie didn't want to step up and figure it out for the whole Barbie world, Barbie land. She wanted the president or somebody else to fix it, you know. So to really see somebody at their low point and be like, somebody else within this better equipped position is going to have to figure this stuff out, that felt genuine and kind of this reserved state that we find ourselves in. I'm like, wow, everything's so messed up. Can't somebody in leadership figure this out? Isn't that why they're doing what they're doing? All right, let's talk about Ken. The sequence when Ken goes to Culver City, it's so awesome because it's playing the 2001 Space Odyssey theme. This theme is returning. This is an awakening for Ken, except it's got a really cool just walking around, kind of good walking around music. And when he's watching the guys talk, and they're having these kind of big boss conversations. And I guess one of the coworkers or a secretary comes up and he's like, "Not now." And then you see Ken just do on the stairs trying to figure it all out, man. That editing was so tight and great, and it sets up this awakening for Ken so quickly. The gym sequence, when you see all the guys come out, it's like, "Good workout, bro," and doing the fist bumps and stuff, that got me motivated to go to the gym. So I went to the gym yesterday. Hit those weights, son. That was, again, just you're excited for Ken to see this world. And when a woman comes up to him and asks him for the time, it's like, "Oh, you respect me. You talk to me just like a normal person." You could really feel this was a world that Ken was very excited to be in, for sure. And the horses. Horses are men extenders. You know, kind of that cowboy motif, and had a lot of little boys. We're into cowboys and Indians and playing all those types of games, cops and robbers, you know, back in the day. So it really ties into that childhood aspect of both Ken and Barbie. Being respected. Oh, can't even beach here. Yeah, so he feels he's being respected because he's trying to find a job, but everywhere he goes, they're like, "No, you're not qualified." And then he's talking to the lifeguard of like, "No, I pretty much just beach, stay on the beach." And the lifeguard's like, "Well, nobody is in danger here." And then Ken, "I can't even beach here." And then sometimes when you talk to Barbie, when Barbie's like, "Don't get into trouble or don't go too far," and it's like, "Okay," you know, acting like a little boy and a little girl, kind of mouthing off to each other. So Ken, you know, he can't find a job in the real world, so he decides to take everything that he learned about horses and the patriarchy and bring it to Barbie Land, and he tells all the Kens. And then when Barbie comes back to Barbie Land after talking about everything with America Ferrera's character, I forget her name in the movie, but her and her daughter Sasha, then they get there, and you see the Kens playing volleyball, and it feels like Top Gun, like a Top Gun homage, and it's got a really cool song. This song is actually by Sam Smith, and I've been singing it left and right and thinking about choreography to it and stuff. It's a really great song to pump you up. The whole album's great. I've been listening to it over the last couple days, and yeah, that song is awesome. And then you have jokes like The Godfather, where a lot of us men are really into what we like when it comes to art, especially film, and breaking down The Godfather and other types of films. And this is one of the jokes that I think every guy laughed in the theater both times that I saw it. And it's when one of the Barbies is coming out of the brainwashing, and she says, "For some reason, I felt so invested in the Zack Snyder Justice League cut." Oh, man, that was a great joke, because the Zack Snyder Justice League cut is incredible. It's 4 hours long. There was a lot of pushing from the audience, from the fans, in order to make it happen, and if we finally got it. But then you still have these rabid fans that are like, we want more. It's like, yo, shut up. You got what you wanted. It was absolutely fantastic. Zack Snyder got screwed over. So let's heal. Let's move on. just unfortunately, the Zack Snyder Justice League didn't bring the numbers that it needed to in order to either continue in that world or have Zack Snyder continue in that world. I don't think he would have wanted to. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I just felt that across the entire drama that was the Zack Snyder Justice League cut and how badly Warner Brothers treated him, that was a pretty funny joke. And yeah, you could hear guys sporadically in the theater laugh, including me. Another one that made people laugh and go, ooh, was Aaron Dinkins from Mattel going, I'm a man with no power. Does that make me a woman? Oh, man. Zing. Kate McKinnon. Oh, she is so great as Weird Barbie. And you can tell the cuts when the gymnast person that they have, the stunt performer, is doing the flips, and then Kate hops right back in. It feels kind of like a Spike Jonze cut back from some of his earlier films. But hey, it still worked. And Kate McKinnon is great as the expositor, explaining everything with her body movements and stuff. It was really fun, explaining everything to Margot Robbie and setting up the whole plot for the film, and then being involved later when Margot Robbie's character is having the even bigger existential crisis and setting up the plan. And then you see Sugar Daddy Ken and Magic Earring Ken and Alan. Dude, you really feel for Alan, man. Alan, like, it feels like Alan and Ken are friends, because when Ken gets hurt, Alan is yelling, no! You know, you could feel like Alan, maybe like a couple of the Kens are friends, but Alan wanted to get out of there. And Michael Cera was great, dude. He was he was funny, but he just was so dismissed. But he does fit all of Ken's clothes. He's beating him up. Another amazing joke that really, I think, has so much depth and layer to it. And that's towards the end when Ken and Barbie are talking. And Ken says, when I found out the patriarchy wasn't about horses, I lost interest. That was so true. You know, we find out how this power structure in the world has worked in the current society. And there's a lot of us men that are like, I just want to hang out with horses. I just want to play video games. I just want to play sports. And to lose interest in that was, it just was fun. A fun joke, again, from the perspective of a guy, but also deeper thoughts going into it. I want to dive a little bit into some of the backlash that I've seen from the film, and I haven't watched too many reviews that that tear the film apart. But the few that I have watched, it really just shows the person's true colors. That this person who's reviewing the movie, this person who is reviewing the movie, is so wrapped up in pleasing their tribe, or they take themselves way too seriously, or they're not sophisticated enough to understand the satire. And I have lost respect for some of these people. One such person complained that the film was PG-13 in the sense of she was glad she didn't bring her 6-year-old to the film. I found that argument to be so stupid, because not only is this film PG-13, even in the marketing, it has shown that it's not, just for little kids. This is probably a 10 and up type of film. And we're experienced with this because of Transformers. Transformers was not a kid movie. That movie is PG-13, okay? So if you as a parent don't do the proper research to find out why a film is rated PG-13, if you don't go see it yourself, you look online and see what kind of jokes or scenes are in it, that's on you. That is not on the filmmakers nor the studio. And if that is your argument for this film, that makes you look bad. So hopefully you can grow a little bit in your maturity and try to understand that art and the MPAA tries to create a kind of parameter for parents to know, like, hey, maybe don't bring your 6-year-old to this. But a 10-year-old, depends on the kid, depends on the parents, but I think a 10-year-old can handle it, all right? When you see people get into a realm that is making money and they feel like they have to please their audience in a way that's disingenuous, that's how you know they're starting to fall. And to see that with a couple of people here on YouTube, I'm not going to name names, was sad to see. But hopefully they'll move past it and give either the film a second chance or go back and realize, especially with a lot of the comments and backlash I've seen on their videos on YouTube, maybe realize that they missed something here. Because this film is about to make $500 million, bro. The last time that I looked, it was at $472 million. It's the 27th of July right now, so that could change in a matter of hours, if not days. Okay, the beach fight at the end. when you get into that third act, the movie just ramps up into so many laughs and smiles, at least for me, when the Kens are trying to beach off and all the sparkles are coming. And one of the Kens is like, shying away from the sparkles, but the other Ken's smiling like, yeah. It was really good. The song I Am Ken by Ryan Gosling. What a performance. That is part of the whole beach fight. Just that entire sequence setting up those stakes at the very end. And Barbie apologizes to Ken that she took him for granted, realizing that having a full matriarchy, toxic femininity society doesn't work, and having a full patriarchy, toxic masculinity society doesn't work. And that even though we have differences as men and women, we can really relate and come together on a great many things. And this one joke that a lot of people, again, are like upset about because they don't understand the context and the satire of the joke. The reason that it's unfair still is why it's a joke, and it's a reflection on our own society. When the Kens asked if they could get one Supreme Court justice in Barbie Land, and the president's like, I can't do that, but maybe you can work your way up like circuit court judges. And the narrator says, and now men in Barbie Land have the same amount of power as women in the real world. Made me laugh, made me chuckle, and that is an indictment on the current world that we're in today. And if you feel that they're preaching in the sense of the message is, now we're going to flip it and women are going to rule the world, it's going to be great. No, the satire is, that's not great either, okay? So I just think some of these folks have lenses on, blinders on, and they're never going to take them off because they want to stay with their tribe and feel good. And I feel it's very sad. I feel it's very, very sad because this film goes far and beyond what I could have expected it to be when it comes to the dynamics of men and women, especially through the eyes and the experiences of immature folks, be they children or tweens. All right, so those are my thoughts here, seeing Barbie a second time. I will see Oppenheimer a second time. I'll also share my thoughts. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down below. Have you seen the film a second time? Are you planning to see it a second time, either in theaters? I saw it in Dolby both times. Or are you going to purchase it? I'm definitely going to purchase it on disc. I'm going to buy it on disc because I love the script and the performances that much. But are you interested in seeing it again or owning it yourself? All right, folks. I really appreciate you all tuning in to a number of videos that I've been launching lately. We're really, really close to monetization, less than 800 hours away. So like, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you online.